Welcome to Beyond the Cab podcast, where heavy machinery meets real stories. I'm your host, Josh Williams, along with my co-host, Sean Everton. Today, May 12th, we're going to do things a little different. Normally we have a guest on, but today we do not. So it's just Sean and I are going to give you some updates of what's been going on. How's it going, Sean?
Good, how are you?
Good.
A lot going on, actually. Right?
Yeah, busy. It's been crazy here the past 2 months, but we haven't done anything in the podcast room in a while, and we've had good intentions of bringing some people in and doing some interviews, and then everybody's out to work. Even the retirees that we wanted to interview are all going out to work, so we'll catch back up on that stuff. We got plenty of time for that. To start today's show off, I wanted to mention last week we had an operator get injured in a job pretty bad last Thursday, yeah. In the morning, he was guiding somebody out of a driveway, and they had a laborer that pulled up in his truck. So he told the guy to pull ahead, get out of the way, backed the lady out of her driveway, and then the laborer backed up and actually backed right over him, ran over the guy. Heard some screams, so he put it in drive and pulled ahead again and ran him over again. So he's in the hospital now, broken tib fib. He's got broken bones in his face, his elbow, his ankle, ribs. So he's in pretty rough shape, but he's gonna make it. He's gonna be all right. But I guess the point I want to make is you shouldn't have to count on a contractor or an agency like the DOT to make sure you're wearing your vest and your hard hat. And then don't be afraid to say some stuff about like a backup alarm not working or, flagger or not having a spotter or something, because this is stuff we just end up taking for granted. We talk about it in toolbox talks and we talk about it in company safety meetings, but then when we get out on the job, sometimes complacency will get to us. So
big thing, skipping steps, whatever it might be. You know the right. You're trained through through us to do the right thing, and there's no reason to skip a step or skip the process or just to because you don't feel like putting your hard hat on or your vest or whatever it might be. It
just takes 2 seconds. I'm just gonna hop out real quick and do this and do that, and the one of the takeaways from it too was like, why is the operator out of the machine? And not in this particular incident, because this has happened first thing in the morning before we ever get into the damn machine. But so many times I see operators like jump out of machines, and I say jump because they literally jump out of the machine from the cab to the ground, which is knee injuries and things that operators complain about. But why are you getting out? Like, you're getting out to move something out of the way, or you're getting out to hook a chain up or something. Like, that's the laborer's work. Like, every time we get in and out of a machine, it's a potential slip, trip, and fall, or a potential comp case. And
that's not even, in the way you say it, it's not even like a blow to the laborers either. But you know what I mean. You're already in the piece of equipment. They're out there. They're on the ground. They're aware of the surroundings. They're just let them do it. You're already in the machine. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right. The less people that are on the ground in the way, the less chance we have of accidents. So let them do their work. Do ours. Stay in the machine. Don't.
As we say it sometimes too, like working like a gentleman, and you know what I mean, and it is because just right down to the conditions that have been in our contracts for years and what we fought for. You know what I mean? Like there's the trades have their roles and the laborers have their work where they are with the flags back in whatever they're doing. We're in the equipment, running the equipment because we're operating engineers.
All right. Foreman pulls up to you in his truck and rolls the window down and wants to tell you something you can't hear it. Make him come to you. They'll figure it out. You don't have to get out and go to them. Make them come to you.
I mean, half of them want to climb up on your tracks and stick their head in your cab anyways.
They do.
You know what I mean?
Whatever. If that's what they want to do, at least you're not having to get out of it. It keeps the cab cleaner too. I see a lot of cabs are all muddied up, and I'm like, how does so much mud get into this cab and this floor and turn into dust? And it's like, well, you're in and out of the cab 15 times a day helping the laborers. Like, no, we don't need to do that. So think about that stuff.
And it was, just a veteran crew too. You know what I mean? Everybody knew they worked together. They, you know what I mean? They knew better. It was just, it comes back to the complacency. You just gotta stick to the process.
An accident in many years in these companies, and they forget about how quickly it can happen. So, we'll wish this guy some good luck, and hopefully we never talk about that again. All right, let's move on to talk about some of these jobs we got going on right now and what's happening, kind of like an update because we didn't have reports at the last meeting. Somerset. So
probably the biggest job we got going right now.
Yeah. What's the name of that thing again? I'm losing the data center. It's called Lake Mariner.
Lake Marinara.
Yeah, Lake Marinara Data Center. Yeah. So hours been crazy up there. We had last December, there was a guy up there that made 30.
Traveler guy that came in from Florida,
somewhere,
Florida, Georgia, something like that.
Put him on last year, and he was running an end dump, and he made 34,000 in 1 month. Yeah,
in 1 month.
Ton of double time, overtime, and everything. Obviously, get that. And then we've got another member up there that's from January 1st till now had made 90,000 already. So the hours are crazy out there.
Yeah, 90,000. And there was, I'm sure his dollar amount is the same, but there was what was probably 2-3 weeks ago we were talking about somebody had already had their 1,000 hours for the year up there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, how much was going on up there. But one of the big problems we're having right now is so these guys that were working up there all winter long, we had called people, hey, we got work at Somerset, and they took these jobs. Some of the guys were fueling, some guys were running forklifts, some guys were doing this, doing that, and all of a sudden they want to drag up and they want to get out of there because they're sick of the drive or whatever. And I don't blame them, but in the same sense, like the job was good enough to work all winter when there's nothing else going on. Now all of a sudden it's not good enough. But the problem is that leaves us in a bad spot because we don't have anybody to replace them. So constantly, I mean, how many times a week do we talk about a forklift or for an example, the past couple of weeks you've been at Botanical Gardens.
Yep.
We're at Britton Stadium, and it's always the damn forklift.
It is always the forklift.
And now we got operators that are running forklifts, making the same money as everybody else is doing, and now they just want to quit and go do something else. So who's going to run this forklift?
Right. It's almost like the forklift is good enough, to get by when there's nothing else going on.
Yeah.
But then the minute something big fires up, like, oh, I don't want to be running a forklift, even though we joke about it all the time, but it legit pays the same amount that it does.
Right.
That guy that's digging the main line, sewer or water main, he's making the same that the guys in the forklift.
And I think, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I did some math on it. For the stadium alone, there was a ton of hours and a ton of money.
And it was 60,000 man hours or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it's actually, I put it in the newsletter, which should be coming home pretty soon. But the amount of money that people made in forklifts, the amount of man hours that they were in forklifts that were done at the stadium alone was incredible. And it's because we maintain jurisdiction on a forklift. Mm-hmm. The international rep from the operators was up here last year at some point, and he could not believe that we had.
You guys took him over to the new stadium.
Yeah, Bill took him over there, and he had jurisdiction of the forklifts here. And he's like, this doesn't happen anywhere. And we're like, what do you mean it doesn't happen anywhere? And it's crazy that we've maintained the jurisdiction of the forklifts. We had that, made a ton of money up there, but the easiest way to lose this jurisdiction of the forklifts is what's happening now, where people are just dragging up, quitting, and the company's left in a lurch. Who's going to run it? Well, we're going to put a laborer. They're going to put somebody's going to jump in that thing, and we got no way to backfill it with. So right now, when work is great, I'll quit the forklift and I'll go run a dozer. I'll go do this, go do that. But when work slows back down to where I would consider normal, how do we maintain jurisdiction on those forklifts? Because we gave it up. Oh, you guys didn't want it when it was busy. Now you want it back when it's not busy. That's going to be tough. A couple of years ago, when Amazon started up there in Niagara County, the company was a non-union company that came to town. I think we signed them up, and I can't remember if it was at WW Steel or one of the other ones there. And 91 laborers got to them first, and they claimed the forklifts. And we're like, well, how do you just claim the forklift so we could go up there and claim the whatever, the brick and this, that, and the other thing?
Right. We'd go up there and we were the first ones there camped out, so we can just take whatever we want. So
they're already trying to do it. We fought it, and we probably could have buried them on it, but I think we ended up getting it back anyway because they didn't have anybody that could run it. But it can go that simple. If the contractor shows up and says, hey, I'm here, I want to sign a contract, and 91 says, oh, it's our work, and then they sign it, and they can write forklift in their contract, and then we go up there and we say, well, no, it's our work. And because it's not prevailing rate, like a private money job.
Job was not prevailing.
Yeah, so now it comes into a struggle of who does it. And if we go to a jurisdictional dispute, which always is a scary thing, from what we've been told in history, whoever the contractor wants on that machine is usually the prevailing trade if we go to jurisdictional dispute. And we don't want to do that. So we want to make sure that we maintain these forklifts. So if you're in a forklift and you don't want to be in a forklift, it's it's big picture stuff. It's not about you. It's about the whole overall thing. That, and the way I say, like, you're maintaining the jurisdiction on this forklift, or you're running it today, for somebody else to have the ability to run this forklift tomorrow when work slows down.
And almost, I mean, look, the bigger picture, like the light at the end of the tunnel picture, you know what I mean? Like when you go to retire and, you know, the old guys, oh, you're going to pay my pension. Well, somebody in a forklift's going to pay your pension someday.
That's right. Somebody in a forklift's going to pay that. You know, we train it. We do
unless we don't, like you just said, unless we don't maintain this jurisdiction. And that's jump to a different job, but the Botanical Gardens, I go over there and it's a never ending battle. Like, I mean, they joke around the office like, oh, you're going to go get your blood pressure up today and go to the Botanical Gardens, because every time I go in there, there's another trade in a forklift, because they either assume that we don't have any guys, or they you know,
well, it's an hour a day.
Right. It's an hour a day. Want to play a game. Like, no, I don't, you know, it's an hour a day. It's a this, it's a that, but it might only be an hour or 2 hours every day, but it's every time I go there, you're in it. So at what point is it, you know?
And we go to so in a lot of these jobs, especially with a project labor agreement, we do a pre-job for every contractor that comes in. So if, you know, a Turner or whoever Pike has got the job, then they've got their subs, whether it be a masonry or a flooring guy or whatever, they pre-job and they tell us, this is the trade we're going to be, the type of work we're doing, and these are the trades we're going to be using. And they'll list, you know, laborers and carpenters or whatever and everything. I'm like, all right, well, who's going to run your forklift? Oh, we're not going to have one. And so how are you going to move your materials around? Oh, we'll figure it out, but we're not. We'll do it by hand. And then sure enough, Sean goes out there 2 weeks later and there's a forklift. But that wasn't the pre-job. Who's going to run that?
Yep. Well, let's jump. Well, the next job we were going to talk about is at the Breeze at the stadium.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. They had a subcontractor come in that was going to do the abatement for the asbestos.
So Breeze is doing the
yep. All right, so we'll back up. Yep. So Breeze National is who has the contract to do the actual demo at the stadium. They're gonna, you know, the big machines, you know, that we probably all seen on either, you know, the news or Facebook or some sort of social media last week. We had 2 Bills players in a machine pulling some of the material down.
They didn't pay. They weren't cleared into paying dues either. Right?
I went out there with dues golf cards, but they wouldn't sign them. But then they have other subs coming in. They have a Patriot and Sons will be here probably the beginning of June. They're going to do all the on-site crushing for the material to go back in the hole. And then they have IAR, International Asbestos Removal. And when they showed up in the pre-job at the building trades meeting, you know, we questioned, you know, you're going to do all this abatement around the stadium. Like, how you moving your material? You're going to have a forklift. And they said no. And we looked at each other like, wait, what do you mean? Like, the stadium's a pretty big, you know, just to travel around there, you know, whatever. We're like, no, it's all going to be handwork, and we're going to put it in buggies, you know, Gators or Rangers, whatever, you know, some sort of UTV, and move it around that way. So we let it go, knowing that it was going to come up that there was going to be a forklift there. And then, you know, wasn't, but a few weeks later, I'd stop by there, see a forklift there, wondering whose it was, but I couldn't catch anybody in it. And then, you know, fast forward another month, and I'm over there just doing, you know, a check, and, you know, there's a guy in the forklift. Ask him who he works for, and it's the asbestos company, and there you go.
It wasn't going to have a forklift. And
wasn't going to have a forklift, yeah.
So this is what they bid the job. They look at the job, they bid the job, they say, okay, this, that, they got their plan, and they come up here. And we always look at like, well, so you really thought you weren't going to use a forklift to haul the stuff around when you bid this thing, and then all of a sudden you get here and you're switching gears like that? To me, it doesn't make sense. Like, they knew they were going to do something. They just wanted to lie about it. Mm-hmm. But then
they just wanted to get, you know, then that it just turns into the same, you know, well, in the city we do it like this, and that's okay, and you know, and just to, you know, even.
You're talking New York City too.
New York City,
you think would not, no.
But they're claiming that, and this just goes, you know, with the whole jurisdiction over the forklift. It seems like the skid steer is just not far behind it, because the minute that a company, and it, you know, back up to the Botanical Gardens, there's a concrete company in there, and you know they got a skid steer with forks on it.
Was that Highland or who?
Ideal
Concrete,
Concrete,
which is signed with 210 and now with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was that was another one. I seen that skid steer there for 2 months, but I could never catch anybody in it. And they didn't even have a bucket. They weren't, you know, all they were using was to move their forms around, but it's still, that's our work, you know? And it just seems like you slip away from the forklift and the skid steer is right behind it because they put a set of forks on it, and now that's a forklift as well.
Right, yeah.
And then it just goes right back into this Breeze thing with the asbestos company, and then it was not far behind that. Breeze is wanting to put laborers in the skid steers to do the interior demo because it's dirty work, and that's what they do in the city again, as they referred to it. And I had sat down and had a meeting and explained to them that the reference to the man hours that we had right across the street from there at the new stadium, we're not looking to give any bit of this up to anybody because at a time where we could have a big job like that, but not much other work going on. The amount of man hours we had in a forklift, we're not looking to give up that jurisdiction, not one bit of it. So,
yeah, we got to maintain that. So, and it sucks too, because we'll call people up, hey, I got a job on a forklift. No, I don't want to. I'll wait for a dozer or whatever job. But it's like, man, and then it gets even tougher when you're trying to bring guys in from the outside because you got some kid working at a company running a dozer or hoe, whatever, and he's saying, hey, I can get you in a union, but I need you to run a forklift. And they're just like, they look at it like, oh, I'm not gonna.
They look at you like, what do you mean a forklift? Like that's something that you guys actually cover, and they don't get it. They
don't get it because they don't understand. Like this is your way in the union. It's all the same pension. It's all the same rate, and it could be a good season in the forklift, but it's hard to get somebody excited to quit their job running whatever it is to do a forklift. I know when I was 18, I probably would have been like, yeah, okay, whatever, but.
You think about like a big non-union job, like a Walmart or something. You got a site company in there doing, them guys, might be Zolads, whoever it will be.
Yeah, right.
They're in there running excavators and dozers and this and that, and like it's almost like the forklift is like a two-wheel dolly on the site.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Just because I'm running this doesn't mean I'm gonna, get in the forklift and move your own stuff. I'm not coming over there to do it.
100%. Yeah. In that world, it's like, nobody ever claims that as a.
Yeah, it's the general contractor's got the forklift, like we always try to get him to do, but no operator in it. It's just a free for all.
Whoever jumps in it.
Yep.
And then you actually get some of these other out of town companies, like let's say the roofers down in PA. The roofers claim any equipment used to hoist their material. So they'll run a forklift. They'll even run the crane as long as it's only hoisting roofing material. And it's like, now they try and, it's a tool of the trade. It's like, no, not here. It ain't.
Yep.
So we fight hard on that. We spend a ton of time on forklifts, but a lot of times.
That Jamestown Roofing.
Yeah.
They just, because they're signed with the roofers out of
Erie, PA.
Erie, PA, and they fight us all the time
all the time. And years ago, it was like, man, these damn forklifts. If we didn't have the forklifts, it would be a lot less work on us. But then I'm glad we kept that because now you see all these hours that came into the stadium, and it was like, man, that was really, really worth it to have that. So, what else is Breeze doing? What else they got cooking there?
So the little bit of demo they did last week, where they had the two Bills players and the pieces of equipment for a little bit. So they actually tore down that section to so they can eventually they're going to build Union Concrete's going to build a ramp from that section down into the lower level of the field so they can get the rest of the turf and stuff off. But then they're actually going to take the big machines down in there and they're going to climb back up and they're going to pull the 300s down into themselves.
Oh wow! And from inside,
it's from inside. Everything's going to come. So that little bit they ripped down from the outside should be the only bit that was
an access, right?
Right. I think they should be coming back possibly later this week or next week, and they're going to do the other side of the jumbotron, so it's almost like a in and out ramp.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, that's the plan. Is they're going to get them ramps built in. They're going down in, and they're going to climb up and pull the rest back down into them.
And how long are you going to be doing that? Like when's that going to wrap up? Or when's it?
I don't think it's going to take as long as everybody thinks it's going to take.
Yeah,
I mean, like that little section that they opened up right there, which isn't actually that little. And I mean, they had that, and there was only two of them, and they weren't. You know what I mean? The Bills thing took about 4 hours. You know what I mean? But they 3-4 days. They had that sorted out, cleaned up, ready to go.
What's the size machine they got out there? Anything big, or is it?
Yeah, they got a 390,
Cat 390,
Cat 390. That has like a big shear on it.
Is that a high reach or just a standard?
Standard.
Okay.
Was a John Deere 670?
That's a big machine, yeah.
And then a 374 and a 349.
Okay, so some big iron.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, you put them in, start ripping that stuff down like that. They don't look.
No,
that big.
they don't look that
You know what I mean?
No, and you've been pulling your hair out there with that job anyway, because there's at the old stadium there's an Erie County contract. There's
three contracts,
3 separate jobs going on there. So now you've got in each one of them, like you had Scott Lawn in and out. You had, was there a Badger or somebody else there too?
Yeah,
and
Badger was in there. So
who are they working for? What job are they on?
Scott Lawn and Badger were working for the electricians, which is part of the Erie County bid. Plus, there's another bid for the sports memorabilia and stuff to get the seats and the pissers and everything else out of there.
That's all that we had nothing to do with that part of it. And then you got Union Concrete's got both.
Union Concrete's in there. Part of it's for the demo. Part of it's for the Erie County, because there still is provisions, because there's
the disconnects, right? Was that part of that, the Erie County?
Yeah, some of them are on the demo, and some of them are on the portion of it, because there's like stuff that has to do with the bill store. Then there's other stuff. There's an office building in the back that stays with part of a tunnel. So there's
right, yeah. So that's been kind of a mess to figure out.
You go in there to try to figure out what's going on, and it's like, okay, well, Union Concrete, are you working on the demo today? You're working on the Erie County contract.
Like, I don't know.
Right, they have no idea. Not one bit.
None of them. No. All right, so moving on from Breeze, Wind Farm, Alley-Cat Wind Farm has been going full swing now. They, as of this past weekend, they got the first tower stacked, topped out, everything's on it. Nacelles out there weigh 384,000 pounds, I think. These are some big deal out there. They get the two.
I think the first one that they were stabbing the blades this morning.
That's up. The first tower's up, complete and done.
Okay.
Yeah, complete and done. And so they got the first 11,000. LeBaire set that. I think they've topped it out on Saturday or Friday. They got that stacked. But now there's nowhere for that crane to go, because the crane pads aren't ready. They're failing which is probably, it's been so damn
Find me a wind farm that hasn't had a crane pad that failed.
Yeah. So the 111,000 is built. And the second 11,000 is built. That's the one they're working on right now, probably stabbing blades and doing that stuff. The first one is just sitting, waiting for another crane pad to be ready. And then the top out, or what they're doing out there, they got 2 500 or 550 ATs run around setting base, number 2, and then mid. So there's 5 tower sections. So they're setting the first 2. Then Billy Rogers is out there running a 16,000. He's setting the first 3 towers, but he can't go anywhere because he's on a Manitowoc 16,000 crawler, and the crane pad's not ready for him either. So right now they're waiting on crane pads, and it seems like Weston's doing the best job they can do. They're proof rolling, Ed and Stone. Some of them are just getting matted. So there's
they're just putting mats in. Then are they putting stone over top of the mats?
They haven't yet. They've been putting stone in, and then getting it up to a certain compaction. They just keep putting more stone in and hit it with a roller, and it just doesn't pass. So they're like, all right, let's just mat it. So they mat the thing, and then they bring a crane in. But yeah, things are going along out there pretty well. We've got quite a few operators for Barnhart running forklifts.
That ties right back into the forklifts.
Yeah, this is
a whole army of them out there.
Barnhart's been solid. Every time we call out there with any kind of issue, or they've been calling us, asking, make sure they do something right the first time. We had a problem with electricians and forklifts. They fixed it. And I just had a phone call this morning with the electrician's business manager, and he's like, what was the whole deal out here? I'm like, no, day one, operating engineers were on the forklifts, and he was okay with it. But that's been going pretty well. So Weston thinks as soon as these towers start getting stacked, they're going to put topsoil back, but you can't even drive off the site, off the road with a pickup out there. It's pretty wet. And then we're looking at another half-inch of rain today or tomorrow. Yeah. So it'll slow things down out there even more. But other than that, that's going good. So we got Barnhart, Weston, and that's it right out there right now for contractors. The drills are done for right now. So that's moving along. Union Concrete, the bridge on over 20, Cazenovia Creek, Contour was out there with Alls Crane. Dominic Fosso was running that. They just got that finished up last week. The oiler that was out there has got some great drone footage, and with this drone and camera. And we took a video too and put it up on YouTube, but it's kind of painful. It goes so slow. It's like unloading a beam. And all right, cool, whatever. Nothing cool happens, but it was up there. But we're going to try and get.
The oiler was actually the same. Well, and Dominic, they were both together last year and this year.
Right, yeah.
So he actually has footage from both sides of the bridge being done on the 2 different years. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're trying to get the video footage from them to get it put together and put a time lapse.
We need a
video or
good, like
something.
an AV guy or something. We can send the stuff to and just say, make us a cool video and stick it up on our YouTube channel. But I don't have time.
Yeah, so
to
if
do it.
anybody, everybody knows both our phone numbers. So
Yeah,
if somebody knows.
somebody's got somebody that can help us out with some of this stuff. I'd like to get more of this.
We
up
have
on-
we have somebody, but like it's a lot for.
Yeah, I'd like to get more of the stuff up on the YouTube channel and our Facebook page, and just keep putting out more content. But I don't have the knowledge or the time to really learn all this stuff to get it out there. So we're lucky we have time to do this podcast, and we're going to keep doing as much as we can. But so that worked out well. Proud of Dominic, did good. Now he's working for Clark for a bit, and we'll see where he lands. But that was a good job for them guys. Stream Data Center, I got written down here in my notes. So Stream is at the stamp plant in Alabama / there's another town out there, Basin.
Basin.
Yeah, that's the name of the town. Basin's like a sign on the side of the road.
Not Oakfield.
Yeah, not close, but not Oakfield. Pike has a site work for that deal. Not sure when they're going to be starting it. There was some, there's been resistance out there, like there is for any job with the public, and then they got notice to proceed, but not really sure where it's at right now. But it's going to go, and it kind of I hope it doesn't start really that soon because we don't have anybody.
Right, and it's almost like right on track to be another Somerset.
Correct. They've got building 1 is under, like that's what they're going to do right away, and they've got plans for building 2 and 3. Not sure how big they are, but they're big. Like any other data center would be. Menard Group was scheduled to come out there and do micro piles, a whole bunch of them. They're like, yeah, we need 6 guys. I'm like, yeah, I got none. Pike needs, a dozen guys, and we got none. And then it's actually structural services, but Pike is the construction manager. And then we do know that there is a contractor, the same one for the precast. It was the same company that's building them that built the ones for the stadium, I believe, is what we heard. So there's going to be obviously foundations, and then the electricians have to have somebody dig for them. There's some super deep conduit. I heard like 20 feet for duct banks. So shields, everything. It's going to be big, just like Somerset. By the time you get all the site work done and the storm and sewer and everything else, now they're talking about they've been talking about doing a force main to Oakfield. Somebody's going to have to do.
Yeah, that's a couple years in the works, right?
Oh, yeah, at least. Because they tried to go through the swamps a couple years ago to go to Medina, and one of our union contractors bid it, and they were like $2 million higher than this next non-union guy. And the plan was he had to go into the rock. He wanted to go into the rock down below, get through it, and back up. That's the plan he submitted. The non-union guy's like, no, we'll just drill through the swamp. Won't be no big deal. Well, they were there for like 2 weeks, and all of a sudden they were gone, and then the whole plan stopped. And we're like, well, what happened to your force main? So I don't even know what happened there. But
Probably floated.
they actually put a septic system in for Edwards Vacuum because they wanted to get up and running first. So they actually cost them a bunch of money to put that in before the force main's going to go up. And
Well, there's already a handful of operators out there right now, right, doing that Jackson demos out there doing the
Jackson Demolition tore the spheres down that we spent a year putting up there with I forget what company did that, but that was a big deal. Big double lined double wall tank, stainless on the inside, insulated spheres for hydrogen that just never actually completed, and tore those down. And then we've got a bunch of guys out there working for Sam and Son, still completing the substation for the whole project too. So that's a pretty big deal. But that's going to kick off and
Yeah, we drove through that substation over the winter. Remember, we drove
did.
through there, and it
Yep.
was just like a ghost town almost. You know what I mean? Like it was still set up, and there was stuff there, but there was nobody.
Nothing. And it's been that way for over a year. Yeah, it's been crazy the money that they spent out there. And I've heard that was that Plug Power that they make big money, but they spend big money too. And it's like, all right, whatever. I can't really understand that. But that's gonna be kicking pretty soon too. What else I got here? Oh, you got anything else as far as jobs go?
Chautauqua Lake Bridge is still going pretty good. Union Concrete's down there.
Yep.
I think they're moving right along.
That turned into a way longer project than what was supposed to happen. If you guys don't know, the DOT did not do a very good job at analyzing that bridge before they let the job out. When they got there and tore the deck off, part of the contract was to pressure wash the beams, the flange on the bottom. And as soon as they started doing it, they blew right through the steel. So this thing turned into a mountain of steel repairs that they had no idea were going to be involved in it. And then they had the way
They ended up ordering a substantial amount of extra steel to have
Yeah.
on hand, and they've pretty much blown through
They've
all
blown
of
through
it.
that, and they're still on the one side.
On just the one
on
side,
the
yeah.
eastbound side.
Yep.
Right. And then the way that they poured the deck when they originally did that, if you can kind of see on camera here. So normal bridge beams are going this way with the traffic. Well, they had the beams in the middle of the part of the bridge like this. So they were worried if they took the concrete off of this side that the whole thing would just flop into the lake because it was all one piece going across the middle. So they had to come up with a plan, and the DOT knew nothing about this when they designed the job. So they actually like clamped this side down and put counterweight on it to tear the bridge deck off this side, so it wouldn't flop into the lake with traffic on the other side.
I wonder if there would be some way that they could hook up like some sort of gauge or something to see if there was actually, when they did take it off, that there was tension that came up on the counterweight to see if it was, or if they could take it off, if it would, you know what I mean?
I think it was simply somebody looked at that and go, that ain't safe, and we're not doing it. And then an engineer and I know Union Concrete had to fight these guys locally because they kept saying, yeah. And it was like, no, we're not, this is not safe. We're not doing this. Finally, they got a hold of somebody like out of New York City, and that engineer for the DOT said, whoa, yeah, you're right. Well, don't do that. Like, we got to figure this out. And then they come up with a plan, and then like, okay, and you get somebody's signature on it to say, okay, this is good. Originally, nobody would do that. I'm not signing off on that. And I'm not signing it. So now they finally got it, and it worked.
All they needed was that stamp and the signature on the
It
dotted
worked.
line. So when it did flip over,
Right.
it was somebody else's fault.
So we're still, this whole year, still going to be on the eastbound side. And then maybe next year we'll flop over to the other side.
Yep.
And they're expecting that to be another 2 years as well with the time they get through all the steel repairs. I mean, I don't know if this thing would
It's kind of working out good for them, though, because it seems like every time we talk to them, they're picking up, they were just, the last time we were down there, they had picked up some rock work along a couple of the boat ramps that are right there, too. So they're getting more work right around the edge of the lake right there, too. You know what I mean? Just sending a machine over and placing some rock. I mean, it's more, too, than just sending a machine over, but...
Yeah, but that's another one. So Contour Steel, and going back to the job that they did with Union over at Casanova Creek, is not signed with us. So who do you think jumps on a damn forklift? Mm-hmm. And so every time we see this, it's another argument with Union Concrete. Hey, you can't have Contour in the forklift, and they're not directing them to do it. They're just, when it happens, we got to deal with it. But the iron workers just do not care. They will not. They just
they used to be signed. You know what I mean? Like my uncle. You know what I mean? He worked for them for
Contour
years.
Steel is actually like they were a good contractor. They had their own cranes. They were crane operators. They were with forklifts, whatever. And it was crazy because the guy that owned it back in the day had got into some trouble money wise and actually owed our funds a bunch of money. And our previous business manager, Norm Noon, stuck his neck out to our funds and said, "Hey, listen, this guy's good. Don't charge him any fines or fees or whatever. He's going to pay." Like, really went out on a limb for the dude to make sure that he was going to be whole and didn't get a bunch of back charges, and he didn't, and it all worked out. And then he sells a company, and now these guys are just treating us like that, which is, it sucks.
Yeah.
So we're fighting them constantly every time we turn around with those guys.
Pretty cool situation down there at the Chautauqua Bridge too. Our steward that's down there, who's going to be retiring July 1st, and he's down there, he can run whatever they have, and he's got his crane license. He's on the crane out on the barge, and he's going to be pretty much handing the whole deal right off to a graduated apprentice who's only been out I think this is his second season out as a journeyman with his crane license, and just pretty much going to be handing it right over, right onto the crane on the barge, and working with the other operator that's out there doing whatever they need to get done. It's a pretty cool situation. You know what I mean?
Super cool. Yeah.
Here's the beginning of your career. Here's the end of mine. Here, handing the torch off.
Yep. Exactly. It's exactly the way it's supposed to work. Hopefully to see.
And it sounds like they're going to get to work together for, at least a month or so, if not a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you do this, you know what I mean? It's a pretty cool situation, I think.
Very cool. Yeah, exactly the way it's supposed to
And
work.
it's exactly 100%. Not you
but it was
graduated
difficult to put
apprentice
together.
handing it over. Yep.
I mean, they were asking us for months, even in the last year, like, who we can have down here? You got to give somebody to come run. I'm like, well, it's pretty tough right now. You got a crane license, and there's a bunch of crane operators. We got 7 or 8 down the wind farm that are getting per diem and everything else. Like, I don't know if we can get somebody out here, but it's working out, so that's cool. Catco's busy. They got a big water line they're doing up towards UB right now. Borden Road. They got some other stuff cooking. Union Concrete's busy everywhere. Oak Grove's on the thruway up by the Galleria Mall in front of that, working on nights.
Difficult
Oh,
job.
yeah, tight in between barrier.
Only
they actually
night
got
work.
some orange Hitachis out there. First time I seen them.
Brand new.
Yeah, then the story goes, Komatsu quit making the 308, which was a zero-turn radius big machine years ago, so they couldn't get those. 228s aren't big enough. They got one Caterpillar out there, and that's like all they could get. And then the other one came in with the Hitachi, had the other one that they needed for that.
And then they ended up with two of them.
Two of them, yeah. Yeah. But the only bummer about that whole thing is they came from Tracy Road, which is their only non-union shop, really, that's kind of in the area. So that was a kind of a bummer there. But moving on with that. So we had, over the wintertime, the first time ever, we gave away a prize for training. So the idea behind this, we had 25 Yamaha Kodiak 450 that we got last year. And I wanted to reward the people that came in to keep their certs up. These forklift certs, asbestos, hazmat, you name it. We had to bring in 3 or 4 guys last year from the outside just to fill jobs at Sevenson because nobody had a hazmat card that was off, or nobody was off, depending on the situation there. But the certs are important to try and maintain the jurisdiction of the work. Having the certs is important. The forklift thing, you go fight whole on a forklift, and the first thing you're going to say is, well, some of you guys got a forklift card. Oh, all their millwrights have them.
Every one of them.
All their iron workers have them.
Because they're just waiting for that opportunity.
Absolutely. So, to maintain, again, these forklifts, the certs are important. So I want to reward the guys.
And that's even on, those certs like you're talking about for Sevenson, that's the equipment that everybody wants to run. You know what I mean? The bigger hoes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? The dozers that are down in there. There's long sticks up there. You know what I mean? And it's just
a cool job. Yeah, it's a cool deal. And it's a long job, too. It's going to last for a while. So we gave the 4-wheeler away to Kevin. Brother Kevin Bogold won it. And I went on a random raffle. We had 344 names, individual names. So if you took 7 classes, your name went in 7 times, and we put them on the wheel. And credit to you, Sean. You had that whole wheel thing figured out and tested it and tried it and tested it and screwed around with it, like made sure it worked good. But our steam gauge logo was awesome. Went over there right before the meeting and make sure it all worked. It was great. And then, of course, when it came time to actually do it, the thing didn't quite work right. And
typical.
Yeah,
for
typical.
Literally had it all set up. Brother Eric DePalma, me and him worked on it in the afternoon. And I'm like, you know what? In case there's a hiccup, I'm not even messing around with this. I left the laptop right there, closed the lid, left it. We're just going to open you back up and we're going to press the button. That's it.
Yeah. And but it ended up working out. So Kevin won that. That's great. So next year, I've kind of asked for some suggestions as far as what people want, and really haven't gotten many. I had one guy say, family vacation or something like that, which is, it's kind of okay. But like if somebody wins a family vacation that's single, or if somebody's got 4 kids and we only get one for like, a husband and wife, or like 2 people, like I don't know how. I don't want one of our members to have to take money out of their pocket to get this prize.
Right. And that's just a family of 4. Family of 4, but your kids are family of 4, and the 2 kids are 5 and 6, or you're a family of 4 and the kids are 14 and 15. You know what I mean? You're going to want 2 completely different types of vacations. Yeah. So it's,
and at that point it might as well be cash, because then you're going to have to. So I don't know if we want to do that.
Right, and then the dollar amount would be too high, where you get gifted to somebody, now there's going to be a tax form involved. And
so if anybody's got any suggestions, feel free to bring them in. But what I want to do next year is I want to do the 4-wheeler again. Unless something's got somebody different for the top random prize. And then I want to give away maybe like a second prize that's, just maybe like something worth $1,500 or something, tools or whatever. But then I also want to give out some prizes. We had 3 guys. I think there was, it was Jimmy Lake.
So Sean Grady and had 22 entries.
22, okay. Jimmy Lake had 21.
21.
And then there was one more guy, Mark Philippi. No. Somebody else had 19.
It was 16.
16 was 19. 20, 22, 21, or maybe 16 then. Either way, the top 3, I guess you want to call it earners, the guys that did the top 3 classes, I want to give those something to each one of those.
We'll be getting around. We'll get them a sweatshirt or something.
Maybe a little more. Maybe we'll figure out.
Get a gift card or something. But yeah, those 3 guys, that's, till 22 entries, that that guy spent 22 days
22
over the
days.
winter at the training
It's
center.
almost a full month, like
Right.
22 days.
22
of
days.
training, which hopefully it works out for him. I'm not sure what classes he took, but he took a lot. So that was great. So I want to.
Ben Friedman.
Ben Friedman. There you go.
That's a
brother
third
Ben
one.
Friedman.
Yep.
So congrats to those three guys. That was awesome. You guys got some training, and
Even the 16, 19, what days, whatever it is, that's 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks.
the guys complain
That's-
about one day,
Right.
And this training season was great too, because normally I remember even when Sean and I were in the apprenticeship, like there's always times when the grant. So the way the grant works is you apply for the grant, we get the grant, and if you say there's going to be 10 guys in this class or 10 members in the class, you have to show that there's 10 members in the class, because if you only show there's 5 in there, they want to like take money away from you and that, which is the way it should be. So we always made sure we filled it. Well, Sean and I always got roped in. Oh, you're an apprentice, jump in that class and fill a seat. This year was the first year we didn't have to do that. Everybody came. Every one of the grand classes was filled right to where it was supposed to be. And this is probably the busiest winter we've had in this local in a long, long time. So credit to everybody for coming in and getting their training.
Our temporary membership thing requires them to take some classes, and I had got a call from the training centers. Can you please stop forcing these guys to sign up for this class?
30 guys.
There was
in
30
OQ.
guys. Yeah, 30 guys in excavation safety class.
we can't do
But then,
that.
right, to circle back to it too, just the 2 classes that you and I teach, the contract and dues and the steward class.
Yeah.
We had the steward class was a little bit less, but like that contract and dues class, there was one, if that, empty seat in the room. There was over 20 people in that room, and it was great.
Ton of information we give out in that one, and everybody
Great
should take
questions
that.
asked, a lot of things clarified. Like it was.
We actually added that to our roster of classes for temp members, which is great. Yeah,
Which
so
they
that's
should.
cool. Yeah, they should. So anyway, next year we're going to do some more prizes for training, which is look out for that. That's going to be good. And then I want to get into the union we had last union. I said union meeting last Thursday night was, I would say, pretty much like a record attendance in a long time. We probably had over 100 people there, which is great to see.
So again, all the seats they had set up, and then the last couple stacks that weren't set up were set off to the side in case it got busy. And after we pulled them down, there was literally 4 seats left in there. Completely out of seats. There was 4
I think
left.
it was 100 chairs, or is there somewhere?
I think somebody said that they had 120 set up, and then we took them other stacks down. But there was legit 4 chairs left in that room. That was it.
Either way, that was great. With attendance, we had the special call meeting for the allocations of the heavy and highway. We've got $5 going to the wage, and then 50 cents into the HRA to go from $1.40 to $1.90, and then we put 25 cents into CPF. So now we're at $7.55 in those contributions there. So congratulations, you guys, for that. That's a heck of a raise. $5 an hour, which is really cool. And then we had our nominations for officers, and we ran on a post, which was called the White Ticket. So appreciate everybody's support there. We added Brother Eric DePalma and Brother John Darzewski to the executive board as Kenny and
West and Jonathan Robertson.
Yeah, Kenny West and Jonathan Robertson are both retiring this year, so they are not going to run for their seats. So congratulations to those guys on the retirement and a great career, and thanks for their service on the e-board. And we're looking forward to working with Eric and John. It's going to be great. So with that, what else you got?
Just one last thing. Back by popular demand, the golf tournament, since we stopped doing it, everybody's asked, multiple times if we could bring it back. So keep an eye out in the mail for a flyer coming out. But August 16th, 9 a.m. shotgun start, Eden Valley Golf Course in Eden. Should be right back to what it used to be, but just a different place. And
great, sounds cool. I'm not a golfer, but I'm excited to have it back. That's cool.
Well, we always need a driver for the drink cart, so
I can. I
think you could handle that.
Yeah, I'm pretty good in a golf cart.
pretty good in a golf cart. But nope, that's it. That's all I got. So pay attention to the mail. That'll be out soon.
All right, thanks everyone for listening, like and share, and we're going to try and get back in here every week, whether we got a guest or not, and just kind of give you guys some updates on what's going on.
Same thing with that too. If there's something that you guys would like us to discuss, or whatever it might be, just shoot one of us a text or an email or something, and we'll absolutely hop on here and discuss it or get you info or whatever we need to do.
Yeah, and if you're off and you want to come in here, if you're retired, you got a cool story, whatever, just call us and we'll figure it out. We can do stuff in the evening and whatever too. But yeah, glad to have you guys. All right, that's it. Thanks.
That's it.